So all right now, enough with our backgrounds. Let's take it to Japan.
Nani? No more reminiscing?
Nah. We'll go back and forth. But
no more childhood reminiscing? We're taking...
Nah, it's us in Japan from now on. So
got a geographical change. No more U.S. stories. Yeah. No more Argentina. No more Korea. It's Japan time.
It's hop on. So I guess I'll start with me visiting Japan for the first time. So for those who don't know, even though I'm from the States, I lived in Korea for 8-9 years. And because there are a lot of similarities in culture between Japan and Korea, I'll say I grew up with a lot of Japanese culture. You know, the language, products, food, and entertainment content such as music, dramas, movies, and of course, anime and manga. Always. Right. And so I had a good understanding of the sentiment and the culture even before I went to Japan for the first time. I already kind of knew like Japanese stuff.
Right.
So yeah, my first time visiting Japan. At that point, I had already moved back to the States. So I flew from LA to Narita. And when I finally arrived at Narita after a 12-hour flight, my first impression was it was pretty underwhelming, and I was a little disappointed because...
Really?
Yeah. Because one, Narita is just an airport, and it's a rather small one, like the arrival terminal. I think compared to other like airports, I think it was a smaller one. And
I see.
Yeah, and Narita is Chiba too, so it's not Tokyo. So you don't really see it's just an airport, and you have to go to Tokyo to know what's up. And it will take at least an hour to get to Tokyo, which I didn't know how to, which brings us to the number 2 reason I was a little disappointed. My girlfriend at the time didn't show up.
Oh, man.
And I ended up waiting for her for 5 hours at the airport alone.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I mean, she was an ex at that point, but, you know, I was young and I was in denial. And I was like, if I wait for her long enough, she'll show up eventually, which did not happen.
Oh, so you waited 5 hours at Narita?
Yeah, alone.
And she didn't show up?
No.
Well, that's why you know so much about the size of the airport and everything.
Exactly, because I was just going back and forth. It was like quick walk, too.
I was going to say, I'm like, man, I don't know how big or small it is.
It's a quick walk. But yeah, I mean, that's for another time, that story.
Right.
But anyways, after 5 hours of waiting, I had to figure out how to get to Tokyo by myself. Actually, I had to go to Saitama, but, you know, I had to stop by Tokyo to get on Saikyo-sen, right? Even this, I didn't even know how I found out this. This was before smartphones or internet, let alone Google Translation or maps.
What year was this?
This was 1999, I think.
Oh, snap. It was
April
1999.
1st. Yeah, party like 1999, man. April 1st. So, but one thing I knew was not to take a cab because I heard, you know, it's going to be the cafe is going to be at least $200 to get to Tokyo. So I'm like, no thank you. So I looked around and I went to one of those information desks and asked the lady, I'm like, I need to go to Tokyo. I don't know why I was talking to her in an accent, but she spoke English.
Did you speak Japanese at the time?
No.
Right.
No, not like I do now. I knew how to read and kind of knew what people was talking about, but it was like some like basic gaijin, you know, Japan 101, Japanese 101 level. So, but then I asked her in English, and of course she spoke English, so she was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, there are a lot of options. This and that. You know how many options there are? Like so many. This train, if you want to take the cheapest route, the fastest route, like the least norikae." Everything, and I was like, I don't know any of that. Just give me the simplest route. Yeah, just one train who gets me that will get me to Tokyo. I want that one. And she was like, ちょっと待ってください. And
looking through the little
Yeah, look
booklets.
at the
dude.
booklets, like no computers, like
Right.
じゃあだったら please take Skyliner, the KSA
Right.
Skyliner, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, Skyliner. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take that one. I didn't know how expensive that was at the time, but
Right.
I don't know if you ever took it, but it's
Yeah, I've taken the Skyliner.
it's airport. Then I think one stop between Aoto, then the next stop is Nippori, then Ueno, right?
Yeah.
Takes about what, like 50 minutes, but altogether it takes like an hour to get there.
Right.
And but again, this was like after 5 hours of waiting for my not coming girlfriend. So my first train ride to Tokyo was inside of the train. I remember just feeling angry, desperate, lost. It's my first time in Japan because the girlfriend situation, like all the way to Tokyo, I'm just like, ugh. Yeah, and
I'm laughing like a great friend, dude.
I mean, it's all fun though. Now that we think about it, it's fun. And this was a time you could smoke inside the train.
Oh,
I didn't even really smoke at the time, but like the stress level, like I was just like, okay, I'm gonna just. They even had a vending machine inside of the train, so I got a pack of cigarettes and just like, just. Yeah, I was lost, but
the day you took up smoking, dude, on the Skyliner, on the way to Tokyo
for the first time. This was nighttime too. Yeah, this was nighttime, dude. Because I waited that long. Pretty much, I think it was like the last train.
That's rough, dude. I'm sorry, man.
Nah, I mean, it's fun. I'm talking about it now, so it's fun. But anyways, I finally arrived and got out of the station. And it was Ueno. You know, the Skyliner station. It's under Ueno Koen, the park. So once you get out, you see Ameoko side of Ueno.
Okay.
So immediately, like mad people, tall buildings, city bright lights, and the smell of Metropolis, man.
And then it's nighttime, huh?
It's nighttime. Neon lights.
Yeah,
like
so
some
just
cyberpunk
flashing,
shit.
like,
Just
welcome to Tokyo.
exactly. Then magically, all the frustration and my anger, desperation from 5 hours of waiting at the airport and feeling like shit inside of the train all the way to Tokyo, just it turned into excitement. So I remember looking at those lights of Ueno and thinking, yo, I like this. I already know what's going on. And I couldn't wait to dive in and just be a part of this massive city, right?
Right.
So I don't know why, but
I know why.
Maybe because I grew up in a concrete jungle. So I did fit right in, like the last piece of the puzzle, man.
Well, I got a question for you, not to derail your story, but did you notice like the difference in like the color of lights in Tokyo versus like American cities?
Yeah.
Where it's like neon-y.
Yeah.
And like, you didn't think of Akira, dude? I think that's one of the reasons you were like,
exactly.
I'm here, dude.
It was Akira. It was Blade Runner. It was Ghost in the Shell, everything. And somehow it felt like New York too. And it felt like Korea too. So I was like pretty comfortable with it. This was my first time in this country. And I already felt like home. So I was like, oh, okay. I like it. I think that's why, like, even to this day, Ueno is one of my favorite machis in Tokyo. Maybe because it was the first part of Tokyo's face I saw. I still have this special attachment, just like Fujisoba.
Right. To Ueno?
Yeah, Ueno. I always visit Ueno, like Asakusa Ueno. It's a tourist trap, but I still love it. I'll always visit those places when I go back to Japan, till this day.
Yeah, I remember. You'd always go. I knew you went to Asakusa always to get like little souvenirs and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are two places, coincidentally, that I like never went to. So I mean, I've been to Asakusa maybe
once.
I lived there 4 years, and I've only been to Asakusa twice, maybe 3 times. And Ueno, like Ameyokocho, like I don't think I've ever gone. I think I might have gone there once.
Maybe you passed it.
With you, maybe? Or Brian? I'm not sure. But like maybe once. And taking the Skyliner, like I would just go to the train. I wasn't walking around doing stuff. I was just like, okay, let's go. And that was it. So
like the reason I had to get out was because I had to change to Saikyosen. Because I had to go to Saitama. And you know, you have to get out of the station and go to JR.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God. Yeah, man, I still, like, to this day, I remember that. Oh my God, Matsuya's there. What's Matsuya? Oh, like thousands of neon lights. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna visit like each one of them. And some of them were like super, like something hedesu. Like massage, whatever. I'm like, what are those? But I mean, that's just me being a kid from the city. What about you? I mean, as a non-Asian person who grew up in a Latin culture, I kind of always wondered, like, what was it like to visit Japan for the first time and run into a culture that was so different from like where you came from?
Man, I remember when I got to Narita, I got off the airplane and then I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of Asian people.
They all look like me. So.
Well, now, let's see. The first thing I remember was that the airport was super quiet. Very quiet.
Right.
There's tons of people. It's an international airport.
Right.
But it was really quiet. And whenever I would go back to Argentina to visit my family when I was living in Japan, you know, I would make a stop in the U.S. and it would be either JFK, O'Hare, and sometimes LAX, right? And it was like a gradual change from like ultra quiet airport to like medium quiet airport American to like Ezeiza in Buenos Aires, and just loud as hell, like everybody's volume, personal volume, just increasingly. Like Japan was really quiet. US was like you could kind of hear people talking, and like, you know, it felt like, okay, there's a lot of people here. And then Argentina, it was just like
volume 10,
super loud. Nene, deja de jugar con la pelota, like just like, you know. And then it's just I would have this like reverse culture.
Shock.
What is it? Reverse culture shock, I guess. I mean, culture shock is culture shock, but if it's your own culture and you're starting to feel it like you're not from that place, which would happen to me.
I understand.
So like that's one thing I noticed when I got to Narita. I was like, wow, like so many people and everybody's so quiet. And you know how it is in Japan where like your conversation volume is modulated to not bother those around you. So even if it's like a packed place, people are like,
Sumimasen.
Right. Yeah. So
until you get drunk, then it's
right, and then that changes completely. Yeah. So yeah, I noticed that it was quiet. Then you know I was pretty pumped because I'd been working at the karaoke in West LA on Sawtelle for about probably 2 years.
Yeah.
So I was able to like, you know, more or less have conversations. I knew, you know, I had some vocabulary. I was able to like make myself understood.
Konnichiwa while you wait through, huh?
Right. And then no, actually I was really lucky at the karaoke. Like, you know, I really learned a lot, and everybody around me was just speaking Japanese all the time. So like I took notes. Like I was super conscientious about it. You know, every time I heard a word, I would write it down. I'd look it up later. A lot of times I would find out what it was, and I'm like, oh, these motherfuckers were talking about me. But But yeah, it was 2007, and I had won a manga contest online, and the first prize was an all expenses paid trip to Tokyo. So I was stoked, like, and you know, after I moved to LA and I saw that first bookstore where I saw manga, and I was like, oh man, I need to learn this language. Like, if I learn this language, I can do the type of story I want to do and all that. And I hadn't published manga yet or anything. This contest that I won, it was a trip to Japan. So, you know, my boss, Hideki-san at the karaoke was like, okay, you know, because I needed to take time off to draw the comic. So he was like, all right, find some people to cover your shift and then, go ahead and good luck. And so I did it. When I came back, I told him like, yo, I won. And he was like, all right, he was super excited.
We were all excited when you won.
What's that?
We were all excited.
Thank you. Yo, thanks to everybody who like has been, on my side of the ring all this time, dude. So yeah, so like and Brian and like Rhyme Lounge crew and everybody was over there. I think Jimmy was in Japan too, maybe. So like a lot of like a lot of, at least Rhyme Lounge was there. So a lot of the So yeah, a lot of the homies from the karaoke days were already over there. So I was like, oh, I got to see them. And so thanks to that contest, I got to go to Japan for the first time. And so I was excited. I mean, I saw the same thing as you. I saw the lights and all that. I'm like, yo, like, I'm here. And the other thing that was cool was I got to see Shuichi. Because I hit him up. I'm like, yo, I'm in Japan, dude. And so he took a train from Miyazaki. And he's like, yeah. Or maybe he flew. I don't know.
Okay.
But he's like, okay, I'll go to Tokyo to meet up with you.
Wow.
So yeah, which was awesome. So I got to see him after many years since Chicago. And another thing I remember about arriving in Japan for the first time was so far my ideas of Japan and what it would be like to be there and how things work and what Tokyo's like and whatever were just based on whatever kind of variety show I would watch, like or dramas. Yeah, I never watched any dramas. Still to this day, like I haven't, Korean or Japanese, that's never been my thing. But I would watch comedy, like what were they called? Like Mecheke Teru, or like Don Don Boots, or like those. That's like early 2000s. Like I have no idea what they're doing now, or even if they're still doing those types of shows. I know they're doing those types of shows, but not those specific ones. But when I got there, I was like, one of my, I guess, things that I wondered was, can I really speak Japanese? And I'm gonna explain why. Like when I worked at the karaoke, everyone around me was Japanese. They spoke Japanese and everything, and I was learning there. But I wasn't sure if they understood what I was saying in Japanese because they also understood English,
right?
And had the context of living in the U.S. So if I thought like maybe if I made a mistake, they would still understand like, oh, this is what he means because Americans say it this way,
Right.
So when I got there, I was like, oh man, are people gonna understand what I'm saying, or like, am I gonna understand them? Or were my karaoke like co-workers, were they just speaking to me in like a baby way for me to understand,
right.
Or was I really able to understand, things? And then when I got there, I was like kind of surprised because I did understand what was going on around me, and people did understand me. And I was like, oh, like I was super excited. I'm like, I am learning Japanese. Like it's not like like I'm speaking some kind of weird karaoke Japanese, that they, So I was like, oh yeah. So the other thing I was thinking is I'd like to thank our subscribers and especially the people commenting. If you're commenting on our videos, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Your input is really important. Arigatou gozaimashita. And yeah, we want to hear more. So please continue to comment. We're doing videos and we're still figuring this out. But when we have time, we'll definitely get in there and comment on some of the things you guys are talking about. I saw some comments on the Mazinger Z Transor Z Mazinger Z video. I'm happy to hear from other people who've seen that anime and remember it so fondly.
Yeah,
as much as I do.
Even Akira video too.
Yeah, the Akira video as well. So yeah, thank you for commenting. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Once again, 皆さんありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Well, I don't know why I'm doing this. This is...
It's all right. We're doing it for the Japanese viewers.
This is Indo.
This is Kakuto-san.
But yeah, talking about the videos and trying things out. Maybe you guys don't know this, but we've been taking footages from last year. It's been about a year.
Almost a full year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have mad footages. We just we're just like trying things out and actually practicing at the same time. But we're thinking about retaking a lot of those. But there are some funny moments in those takes, so we didn't want to waste them. So we made a little trailer, and I think if you guys see the trailer, watch the trailer, I think it will give you guys a better idea of what kind of content or like the topics we're gonna talk about from now on. So I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy it.
Again, that's why the word I would use to describe Japan is gyokdan, which is extreme. Like, because on one end, you know, it's like super ultra conservative on certain things, and then other things is just like way crazy. Like, just what? How'd that even happen? You know, so
she's like, I made all the wrong choices when it comes to men.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I was one of them. Yeah, you did. I was one of them. Don't tell me you have to marry me now. Jin's doing that. You know, it's even more like, oh my god, people will be super excited and how does too. Oh, かっこいい. 야, やっぱ外人かっこいい. Type shit. 스타일이超いい.
I think it's gotta look somewhat good for that to elicit that kind of response, right?
I don't know. They'll say whatever. You know. If it's gaijin, like you're doing some weird shit, they're gonna be like, oh my god, かっこいい, kawaii, 面白い, 超ウケる. Okay.
Well, you gotta say something, right?
It's been 5 minutes already. Damn, there's a bar down, izakaya right down there. Minasan, hello, hurry up, taking pictures already, man. Damn.
That's my opinion, dude. But that's like I don't know. That's a weird gaijin thing. Acknowledging differences in cultures is not racist. If people think that, they're defective mentally, dude.
Yeah, I know. Be like, oh my god, cultural appropriation. Man, shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
Okay.
What are you wearing?
Exactly. The girls like that, they always have somebody waiting.
Yeah. It's a Yakuza
They chop motherfuckers up in the back and feed it to the fish and see. 웃어, 야다, 웃어. 私可愛くない? It's like, am I not pretty enough? I'm like, no, you guys are pretty, but you know, I can't.
A few of them didn't look like it at all. And by the way, dude, I'm kind of an expert because I lived with one. You know, that was the OG spot, dude.
Yeah, but they closed down. The first Fujisoba ever. So, I guess, お疲れ様でした.
お疲れ様でした. R.I.P. First.
Yoshinoya.
Oh,
now they have Tokyo Fried Chicken.
I've seen those people that they're just there drinking and they're not saying shit.
Yeah.
And they're not talking to anybody.
Probably they're thinking like, 日本はもう終わってる.
You know, they come out and say like, どうですか? 可愛い女が。
お兄さんどうですか? 今日どうですか?
Yeah, exactly.
可愛くいますよ. Yeah, I know all the lines.
I missed the train, obviously, but like I was out drinking. I might have been out drinking by myself. I'm from. They'll just start talking. Hello, I'm from Nagasaki, but now I live in Tokyo, and then they'll just tell you their life story in English, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool, and then they're like, yeah, and also I think, and then they'll just keep talking. What's the drinking age in Korea?
5.